That's not final. While the question of why Square Enix continues producing Final Fantasy sequels if they are final usually comes off satirically, it does not come as a surprise that they would want such a successful franchise to continue. But what is it that makes it so successful? In this video, I aim to, through critical theory, game mechanics, and character identification, assert my interpretations to the significance and effectiveness of these electronic arts in relation to their genre, the variety of their potential audiences, and what that variety itself means. The first place that shows evidence of connection between the parts of this massive video game franchise are the recurring character names. The most vivid example of this self-reference occurs in the 9th installment, where there is a theater scene in which Marcus, played by Zidane, says, "No cloud, no squall shall hinder us," which identifies the two protagonists of the two previous installments, Squall and Cloud. In the context of the scene, Marcus refers to his escape with Cornelia, but in the context of the history of the franchise, suggested by Zidane's remediation, it signifies a sort of industrial victory. Just quickly looking at their history, Square began developing role-playing games for the NES in the mid-1980s, but by 1987, the popularity was declining along with their business. So they began developing a game inspired by Enix's Dragon Quest series. They titled this project Final Fantasy, recognizing that it may be their last production. However, it was far from it, considering it solved their financial problems and began their most popular franchise. By referencing one another in this scene, video games prove their existence as part of a history, rather than an isolated, anonymous work. Square's identity and history becomes meaningful with the phrase, "No cloud, no squall shall hinder us," during Final Fantasy IX, by asserting the quality and dependability of their product. It is as if to remind their audience of the success of the two previous installments and their continued expansion of a well-established series for over a decade. Whether or not this is an effective method for advertising, this kind of history and meaning is what engages the audience and elevates Square's product to more than just a game. Square has marketed action figures, posters, and other physical merchandise, but when I refer to their product as more than a game, I refer to the use of meta-theatrical elements. Though this idea of meta-theater originated in the dramatic arts, it also applies to any art form which comments on itself, drawing attention to the performative situation of audience and actors, or to the literal act of its production. Naturally, the previous scene lends itself to a meta-theatrical interpretation because it takes place in a theater, and it references Shakespeare several times. For instance, Lord Avon is the author of the game's dramatic performance, I Want to Be Your Canary, and Stratford-upon-Avon is Shakespeare's birthplace. Several characters in the play also resemble characters in Shakespeare's plays such as King Leo and King Lear. This play exists at the beginning and ending of the game's plot, framing the whole narrative, as does the position of the curtains on a stage. Shakespeare popularized the analogy of the world as a stage, and it appears to reference his works, evoking that same imagery. These dramatic elements attempt to engage the player not only with the game, but also in the world that it represents. These devices are all throughout the series, from the constant melding of player controls with the actual physics of the world to the opera scene in Final Fantasy VI, but I'll focus on a few of the more poignant instances. The Sorceress's inaugural parade in Final Fantasy VIII is very theatrical. The player experiences a uniquely designed background which includes interactive non-player characters, but also includes a background scenery, which consists of other members of the crowd. Though Squall and Irvin try to be discreet, crouching while they get to their objective, to us, the audience of the game, they are the foreground while the crowd is the background. The float which the sorceress rides on serves as the stage for the characters to observe, but to the player the stage is the audience, the actors just another member of the audience. The soundtrack for the sequence of the plot, an ominous march tune, is also named The Stage is Set, suggesting the intention of these meta-theatrical elements. Also in Final Fantasy VII, the Junon inaugural parade for President Rufus puts Cloud in a similarly theatrical situation. While trying to infiltrate Shinra ranks, Cloud puts on a uniform and is mistaken as one of the performers in their parade. As a former Shinra employee, he remembers certain code gestures. Cloud is dressed up like an actor would and convincingly performs the appearance that he is part of the group, a group which is then performing for another audience. How well the player performs in the parade is dependent on how well they blend in with the other soldiers, and this is indicated by a TV ratings percentile in the user interface and dialogue from commentators. If Cloud sticks out, the ratings go down and the commentators focus on a certain performer who is underperforming. This is also viewed through the medium or our screens, adding another layer of meta-theatrical complexity to this scene. It represents the game's identity as part of something that not only larger than it appears, but also as something that continues to grow larger. As the series continues to grow, it continues to comment on the past and foreshadow the future, creating the potential for limitless complexity. The main theme here results from the metaphor that art is a mirror through which we see reality. If Cloud can convince himself and others that he is someone who he is not, then the difference between imagination and reality becomes cloudy. This blurred distinction becomes the most apparent in the Luca plot sequence in Final Fantasy X. First of all, Luca is one of the largest cities in Spirit because of the stadium, a theatrical place that serves as a blitzball stadium and an amphitheater. A loyal fan to the series, however, would recognize two familiar songs in the background of the opening Luca cinematic.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day we've all been waiting for. The opening tournament of the season. This event...
The first one is the Rufus welcoming ceremony from the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, which sounds like this. And the second one is Queen Braun Appears from the Final Fantasy IX soundtrack, and that one sounds like this. Okay, now let's listen to the original again.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day we've all been waiting for. The opening tournament of the season.
Indeed, these are the two themes from two of the previously mentioned situations where performance and art are self-aware. The relationship here is then presented during Maester Micah's opening speech to the Luca Blitzball tournament, which is viewed from a television inside a Luca cafe.
Today, on this glorious day, players from all over Spira have assembled here to participate in this great contest of bravery, skill, and strength. All of these fine teams, equally renowned, deserve to win the cup today. Such is the nature of this contest. Let us, the spectators, play our role accordingly.
The line, "Let us the spectators play our role accordingly," is especially meaningful considering the genre of this series of video games, the role-playing game. It suggests that these spectators are not only the citizens of Spira, but also the spectators who play this game.